Brilliant. Okay. So I'm really pleased to be catching up with Allan Merritt from Arnlea today. Welcome to the Business Spotlight, Allan.
Thank you, Brenda. Delighted to be part of it.
Yeah, really good to have you here. So just tell us just a bit of an introduction to Arnlea. What do you do and how long have you been doing it?
Okay, Arnlea is a mobile software business, industrial mobile software. Our main target market is the energy market. So we help them in the, I guess, the field service management area in remote locations, really, offshore, in the jungle, wherever it might be. So mobile software applications are of benefit to our customers. So that's what Arnlea does. I've been involved in the business for the best part of 10 years now. And I led a management buyout and became a major shareholder of the business back in 2014. So yeah, I've been CEO of the business since then. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing. I mean, if you want to go back further than that, you know, I am a tech entrepreneur. I started my first business back in 1994, back in the previous millennium. That's how old, that's how long ago that was. So yeah, but Arnlea's, you know, an exciting business and an exciting project for me.
Awesome. So I'm interested in the management buyout then. Sorry, that wasn't one of the questions that I gave you, but that'd be interesting, I think, for people to hear about how that, about your experiences of going through that then.
Yeah, I mean, I won't go into the gory details, but I saw an opportunity. I was actually working as the chairman, the non-exec chairman, for a business that was owned and run by an Aberdeen entrepreneur who owned Arnlea at that time. And he and I were happy for me to get involved in the business and help manage and run the business. I thought, you know, mobile software, mobile application software, I thought, and my background, you know, back in the day is software, IT and software. So, you know, it piqued my interest. So when I got involved in that, I thought, oh, you know, I think there's an opportunity here. So I put a business plan together. I put a management team together, and I went out there and touted my business plan, you might say, to various investors around the country. And yeah, the investor that we chose, they chose us, I suppose, is NVM Private Equity. NVM is a UK-based private equity business that backs relatively small businesses. And they're not focused on tech, they're a generalist. But, you know, so we went through various presentations and various diligence processes that led to the deal in May 2014. So it's quite an exciting process. It's quite an interesting process. And as I say, we did the deal in 2014, bought the business from the previous owner. And yeah, here we are. So what would you say? Good fun.
What would you say to someone who's thinking of going down that route themselves?
I would say you need to be absolutely, you know, you need to believe in what you're doing. You know, you need to believe that what you're doing is going to be a success. Because if you don't, no one else will. You can't convince anybody else, whether it's another member of your management team, whether it's an investor, whether it's an employee, a customer, anybody. So you need to believe that. And you need to, hard work. You need to work hard to, shape the business. One of the things that I'd written down in response to some of your questions, and I do think this is the most important thing, is people, and the ability to work with people, to motivate people, to to listen to people, and to get people to listen to you sometimes as well. So whether it's convincing an investor to invest, whether it's getting a management team on side, and for me, every person is a touch point for you, and that is the most important thing. I suppose if I was to rate anybody ahead of anybody else, it would probably be the management team, because it's the management team that runs the business on a day-to-day basis. And it's not just about the profile and characters and abilities of the individual. It's also about the dynamic between those people, and how they interact, how they work together. So I've learned all that, in some cases the hard way. In some cases,
that was going to be my next question. How do you learn to do that well? So
through experience, good and bad. I mentioned that I first became an entrepreneur in 1994. I started a company called Pragma, which initially was a software business and morphed to being a technology and IT services business. And I suppose for the first 3-4 years the market was good, and I was young-ish, and you're just going along and it's great and wonderful, and then you hit a road bump, and that's when you realize that you've got to manage your business properly. So I was lucky. I had a guy who was my chairman, Jim Clark was his name, or is his name, and he was a friend. He's an entrepreneur as well, and I looked up to him. I still do. He helped me understand that one of the first things you do, especially in when you hit a bit of a bump along the way, is you have to make decisions. You have to make tough decisions, and it was really tough because I had to lay people off, and I'd never done that before. And my perhaps initial naive thought might have been to wait and see, just things will get better, blah blah blah. But you make these decisions. It's really hard for the people that you are making redundant, but it saved the business, and that business went on, I'm pleased to say, and has been successful. I sold it to another business, and it's actually gone on and done very, very well in various guises along the way. So you have to make these difficult decisions, which are really tough at the time for individuals and for the business. But so I suppose you learn the hard way, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It sounds like been through some tough times. More recently, we've been through some challenging times. Have there been some changes that you've had to make to your business since? Yeah. Well, everybody knows what I'm talking about, since 2020.
Yeah. I have made changes to the business. I'm pleased to say that I haven't had to, rationalize or reduce, let people go. If anything, we've perhaps slightly grown the team, not hugely, but we have a little bit. But probably one of the biggest changes in that time has been, working conditions, working patterns, I suppose, flexible working. Prior to the COVID pandemic and the lockdowns and so on, we were very much, I suppose it would be, use the word traditional, but we worked in the office. Everybody worked in the office. That was natural and what everybody did, and everybody was okay with that, I think, for the most part. Working from home was something that we were even discussing at that time, actually. But of course, boom, lockdown, whether you like it or not, you're working from home. Mm-hmm. So we were lucky in that as a tech business, we were fully set up with cloud-based systems and capabilities. So we could set up at home, as I am today, and able to work as productively as you can in the office. So we now, that's a big change, is we now have totally flexible working conditions. People can work 100% from home, 100% from the office, a mix, any sort of mix they want. We provide that flexibility to our people. And I think for the most part, they respond to that. And, I think also, I do believe that there are benefits in working in an office environment or working in a face-to-face environment, in the office. And I think everybody does benefit from that at key moments. But I'm actually pretty open, and I have no problem working from home, as you can see today. So that's probably one of the biggest changes in the last, or since the pandemic. As a business, we've got a couple of other things which are, as well as that we've changed. I mentioned before we came on air here that we've flipped to being a SaaS business, a software as a service business. We were a traditional software product business, deploying our products perhaps on a physical server at the client's site or in their office or something like that. We're now a totally cloud-based, as I say, software as a service business, and it makes deployment, upgrades, use of our product, the ability for the customer to buy our product much, much easier. So that is a big, big change for us that's happened, and that's happened really in the last year. And another big change for our business is that we've opened a US operation in Houston. So we branched out. We are an international business anyway. About 60+% of our work is international work, but our headquarters in Aberdeen is where that was all done out of. But just as the pandemic and the lockdowns started, we committed to a Houston office. So it sat empty for 2+ years or whatever it was. But one of our guys from here emigrated, and we helped him do that. He's now out there. He's been out there since April last year with his family. And he's got himself bedded in. He's won some contracts for us. It's working out really well for him and his family, and for Arnlea. So that's also a big change for us in the last year. That's pushed the business on.
I guess all of the changes bring challenges you're aware that are going to come with a big change, but also the things that you don't know that are going to come up. Yeah. So I suppose things come out of left field, don't they? And there are things you are not in control of, like the market. Our Arnlea's Arnlea's target market
is the energy market, the energy sector, and we all know how volatile and uncertain that is. So I mentioned that I did the deal to take over Arnlea back in the management buyout back in 2014. Well, for anybody who's aware of the energy sector, the oil price crashed in the second half of 2014 and has, stayed low for many years. And it's really only in the last year or so that the energy business has, come back up again. So that's something you have to deal with. People, what we try and do as a business, I would say, is we have to make sure, and this is one thing I've learned as a business owner and entrepreneur along the way, is the culture of your company is absolutely vital, because it helps retain people, it helps recruit people. It can maybe be the fine margin or the difference between them deciding to go with Arnlea or go elsewhere. And in fact, we have had that over recent months and over the last year or so, where people have said they've joined us, even though perhaps other aspects of the offer, weren't top of the list, should we say, that they might have. But the culture of openness and fairness and working together, and we, even though we have totally flexible working, we place emphasis on social events and getting together, as I say. We just had our staff kickoff meeting just last week, actually, last week of January, to basically set the scene, talk about how we did last year and set the scene for 2023. Mm-hmm. And that helps everybody understand what the business is about, what the goals are for the business, and how they can help towards meeting those goals, and how that matches in with their own career development and goals as well. So, I've learned a lot. But I go back to people again. So much of it. Okay, there's the market thing, but I think people are unpredictable sometimes, and they're not machines. So you have to manage them as best you can. We all make mistakes along the way, and I have not learned. I know for sure I haven't learned everything, and you continue to make mistakes. But as long as you learn and you develop and so on, I think, and try your best. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely. So what are your aspirations for Arnlea in the next 5 years?
Well, that's a good question, and it is one of the questions that you had on your list, actually. So I thought about that in advance, and actually we as a business have a vision statement which we review and evolve as we go. So it's probably best, and that's probably the best way of describing our aspirations as a company for the next 5 years. So our vision statement is to offer global leading intelligent mobile applications that transform field service management as we know it. Field service management is the area that we're in. So we want, with our applications, our intelligent mobile applications, we want to ensure our applications evolve so that we can get artificial intelligence and machine learning in there. We're starting to do that, but that's a big part of our roadmap going forward. And the global leading bit at the beginning is about, that's our aspiration. We want to be the leader in our field. So, and global gives an indication. I've already spoken before that we're opening an office, or we have opened an office, sorry, in Houston, and it's now reasonably well established with Paul, our head of BD Americas, heading that up. And yeah, so with that, we have a development office in the Philippines as well. We've had that for probably 6 or 7 years as well, and that's fantastic. We have some fantastic people there as well. So we have good coverage, which gives us the global angle, and internationalization is a big part of our strategy as well. So we want to continue to increase our international business. We're a big player. We're probably the leader in the UK in the offshore space, but you know, we want to go beyond that internationally. So I guess our aspiration is to be that global leader in field service management, and have our application, you know, really help our customers optimize their operations.
Sounds like exciting times ahead.
Yeah, it is. You know, we're continuing to grow our team. In fact, we've got a new customer success manager joining the team at the beginning of March. So, you know, that boosts the team as well. We are, you know, as you can imagine, for a software product business, developing our product roadmap, continuing to evolve, introduce new technology means that we have software developers, software designers, testers, and so on. That's a big part of our team. Our head of product deals with all of that area, and you know, we continue to grow that team as well. So yeah, it's exciting times for the business, and I hope exciting times for the people who work in it as well.
Fantastic. I'm running out of time, Alan. I could talk to you all day, find out about all your experiences and your share your learnings with us. But thank you very much for being on the Business Spotlight today.
Well, I've enjoyed it, and yeah, I hope it's. I hope you've enjoyed it as well.
I definitely have.
Whoever has the opportunity, I don't know if that's the right way of putting it, but whoever watches or listens to this, you know, can take something from it.
If anybody wanted to get in touch with you, Alan, to talk more about your experiences or the services at Arnlea, where would they find you? Okay,
probably best to give my email address. And of course, I'm on LinkedIn, so you can find me easily on LinkedIn. So if anybody wants to, you know, message me on LinkedIn, feel free. You can find me very easily. And my email address is allan.merritt@arnlea.com. So yeah, I'm happy to help, happy to engage with people and help them on their paths there, you know, as they hopefully, you know, develop and evolve as people, both personally and in business as well.